the mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of the feeling. So last couple of days we talked about the four sublime states, right? There's loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joys, and communities. Right? The reason why they call sublime because it's just lofty. If we could develop, we can bring the benefit for ourselves and others. And now we go back to talk about this kind of practice, the Theravada's practice, with the mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of the feeling. Yeah, again, last time we talked briefly about mindfulness of the body. Let me go over one more time. So, why? Who know why? Why is mindfulness body is so important in Buddhist practice? You know why? You read, some of you read this part yet? I want to listen to you at first before I explain why. Yes.
I kind of think it's like having to do with like a balance of between like body and mind, or just having like sort of like just kind of like peacefulness throughout.
And what else? Who read this part? Who read some articles about this part? What else? You know, it's simple. The body is, we have this body until we die. And if we don't make friends of this, what happened then? We know everything, we know many things externally, but what happened if we don't know our body? What happened?
It'll fail up on you, or like kind of like betray you.
Yeah, but what happened if you don't understand your body, the function of your body much, if you don't feel some type of easiness or comfortable with your body? What do you think?
I mean, it's with you 24/7, so you can't be comfortable with life in general if you're not comfortable with your body.
This is your body. Of course, this is mindfulness of body, and they don't have mindfulness of feeling, mindfulness of the mind, mindfulness of the soul. This is the initial step. It's so important. When many people, especially the young ones, I don't like this body. Is that right? My body is not beautiful much. My body, and so on and so on. What happened then if you have that kind of attitude? If you have that kind of mindset about your body in a negative way, what happened then?
I think your mind gets poisoned. Like it'll go back into like envy, and then you'll be jealous of other people and like what they look like.
And also, if you don't care much about your body, the way you eat, is that right? The way you hang around with your friends, right? And so forth. Let's say, you guys so young. Most of you are in midst of 20s and below, right? You guys so young. You have so much energy. You can stay late at night, 3 or 4 a.m. right? Can you? I can handle that. For me, from somehow what they call the biological timers, they pass through somehow. I still think my mind still functioning, but it would not more efficiency than when I wake. Then that when I have enough sleep. So and plus, when you're getting older, 40 or 50, you see the impact of the way you eat, the way you sleep, the way you exercise and so forth. When still young, like you have strong body, like strong trees, you can move everything, can stay late and so forth, but it have big impact later on in your life. So that's why be careful the way you consume the food. Be careful how you take care of your body. In other ways that you may think about, the way you sleep, the way you drink, smoke, and so forth. So that when you get into the middle age or old age, you see the impact. You know, even my age, you know, and above, the way we drink, the way we eat, we recognize as understandable the impact of those drinking and food. So be careful, take care of your body, right? And not talking when you have the children, right? Especially when you're a lady, and the men too, right? Anyway, so that's why we need to know our body. We need to reference our body. Let's say if you don't feel comfortable with your house, would you like to stay? You may not, right? If you don't feel comfortable with this body, which things you feel more comfortable? Which things you feel more satisfied? Maybe not. Make sense? So it starts with the body. The way you dress, the way you walk, and so forth. That's why the Buddha teaching is that in one of the higher teachings that we call Shurama Sutras, the Buddha said that here the sixth sense, the eyes, the nose, the tongue, the body, and so forth, are the disturbance of the mind. They are the duration of the problems. But that's the negative side. And the positive side is that yes, they are enhancement for your mental and spiritual developments. So it's just both sides. Everything is two sides of the coin. So that's why we need to learn this. And I read some of your articles. I didn't have time, you know, we catch up. You guys have to catch up with your homeworks. I have to catch up with my reading preparation and read up your writing too. So I have not given the lady because I have so much to do. And some of your writings about 32 parts of the bodies, all right? You know why? Why the Buddha encouraged us to contemplate about this physical body. Within this physical body, the organs, the skeleton, and so forth. Why?
So
Why
that we view the body more realistically. And
Excuse me?
so we view the body more realistically rather than like idealistically. And really it's a way to kind of disconnect from really lust was kind of one of the main things. So you're not so focused on little details of the body, but you see it for what it really is.
Yeah, again, so somehow, you know, we look things so on the surface only, especially when it deals with the forms in terms of the body. So the Buddha wants to guide us to deal with the reality of this body. And that's what happened to him when he was young, remember? When he went out to the palace and saw the sick person, the old person, remember that? And the corpse. That's at that instant he recognized, well, one day he had to be gone. Everyone else, including him, should or have to face with that realities. And no matter what type of what we call facial surgery and so forth, one day we will get it back. Is that right? So that's, of course, everyone of us like beauty, is that right? But still, it will come and go with the times. That's why the Buddha want us to anchor down the reality of life, not to run away from life. That's why so many people they say, "Oh, Buddhism is so pessimistic when we talk about suffering." But it's only when you see the doctor, and the doctor would tell you what type of illness you have. You have to face that. If you still run away, I don't accept that. I don't accept that kind of illness to me. What happened? It's still there with you. You cannot run away from this. You cannot run away from those kind of illness, those kind of varieties, those kind of changing within this physical body. That's why the Buddha said this mindfulness of the body is the foundation of the Buddhist practice, mindfulness practice. So I want to give you some this idea. So the Buddhist strength, when we see the skeleton a lot of times, and that's us, right? And this is part of our life. Okay, and here, body concentration, foundation of mindfulness, the breath. We talk about that. We may you will go over again. Posture, clear comprehensions about body, part of body impurities, and of course, as human, we don't want to talk much about this thing. Is that right? But it's there with us. That's why every day we need to take a shower, or we want to apply some perfumes on our body and so forth. This look nicer, look cleaner. That's great too. Nothing wrong with that. But the reality is there. This is when our body there. For elements of the body and decay, getting older, and one day have to go. So again, this the here according to the Pali version, we talk about breathing, posture, body activities, and the mythical part for elements, coffee, so forth. Other one they say that, but here. I'm starting the breath. See that the breath is more easy. This is like last time they told you that we need to choose the neutral object so that we can focus on, so that we can pacify our mind or calm down our mind. So the breath, when we think about breath, yes, there's a breath. There's a source of our life that would not stimulate either the anger or the attachment. But this is there. It's part of our life. It's part of our physical body, and this is that's why in Buddhism is use the breath. The Buddha used the breath as a way how to calm the mind, as well as attend to the ultimate goal of what we call nirvana. Did I tell you the definition of nirvana yet? Not yet. Where is maybe nirvana then?
Is it like the final stage of enlightenment? The goal of enlightenment?
Yet in the Theravada tradition, that's the final, the ultimate goal. But in the Mahayana tradition, it's not yet. The ultimate goal is in Mahayana Buddhist tradition is to become Buddha, to be a fully enlightenment. And again, let me go back to talk about Nirvana first, and we'll talk about the fully enlightenment. What's mean? So what's mean Nirvana then? Is that the place? Like the heaven? Many people they have that kind of misconception. And some of you even before you come to class, you heard the word Nirvana somewhere else, right? Right?
Yeah.
What's the word mean? What's mean Nirvana then? You have read this before? Nirvana is the state of mind that there's no more emotions, there's no more passion, there's no more anger, attachment, any kind of mental fluctuations. That's what it means, not the place, but the state of mind. I used to ask people or students that imagine that you walk on the street and meet those kind of people, the one who doesn't have any more anger, any more attachment. What do you think about that person? What do you think?
You're dangerous.
No. That's many people reply to me. That's what it is. No, of course we don't talk about using drugs and so forth. If they go beyond that kind of mental state of mind, without any attachment, without any kind of anger, what do you think about that person?
My question would be is if you don't have like the attachment or anger, do you still feel happiness and joy?
That's a pretty good question. You know, later, probably next Tuesday, we talk briefly about our state of mind. And you understand, every state of mind has different happiness or joyfulness. that good feel. For example, you know, for some people, oh, food is my my enjoyment. Is that right? Or someone, okay, game is my happiness. Playing games. Or other people, oh no, writing, I enjoy my writing. Someone, oh, I enjoy talking with other people. So you understand this? So everyone, a person has different, what I call, views about happiness or joyfulness. So, like you say that, okay, so when we go beyond that state of mind, there's different levels of happiness. Let me put this way for you to understand. Okay, now, someone enjoy the food so much. Oh, this is part of my happiness. This is source of my happiness. Nothing else. But other people, no way. That's not food. Make sense? Other people, oh, especially the men. Oh, riding motorcycle. That's the source of my happiness. Nothing else. But other people say, no, that's just for you, not for me, and so forth. Why? Why it's not for you, not for me? Because they don't last long. For the food, yeah, you know, you may like some type of food, and what happens when you eat more than you need, and eventually you don't need more.
I get very happy.
I
get very happy. The more food, the better.
Let's say whichever food you like to eat, could you eat for the whole place, the whole tables? You understand what I say?
Yeah.
One day, at one moment, you be bored. That's the point. You understand that? And even the next day, you have that kind of craving again. That food, that riding motorcycle, and so forth. Because what? They come and go. The thing that we constantly ask is happiness and joyfulness is impermanent. They come and go. Even the relationship between man and female, it's come and go. We call it, it's fleeting. It's impermanent. Make sense? When someone go beyond that state of mind, no more attachment, no more anger, they have different types of happiness. That's lasts longer. You can say that's what we call everlasting peacefulness and happiness. And of course, you know, many people when they go to the beach, right, they rather to see the wave to come up, right? But what happened? They may be drowned with this kind of wave. Make sense? But of course, maybe people would not like to see how the ocean, how the beach calms. They like to have excitement because the minds go up and down. And what happens when we have that excitement, when we have that kind of fluctuation with our mind? Yes, and the peak we happy, and the down bottom we depressed. Make sense?
Yeah.
That's why life is changing. That's why we always seeking some kind of excitement, of enjoyment. But again, it won't last long. And here, when we talk about nirvana, that the state of mind that you maintain, that state of mind you pacify your mind in the calmest way. You stabilize your mind no matter what happens. You're not robot, you're not machine. But whichever people praise you, or whichever people try to put it out, you're still the same. Remember we talked about that? You remain that kind of peacefulness and calmness throughout the day. No matter what happens. So that's, in Buddhist view, that's nirvana. In Buddhist view, that's everlasting happiness. Then we find out the crest and the bottom that we go through all the days. You understand that? And that's why meditation is for. Meditation helps us to have that kind of long-lasting peacefulness and happiness within ourselves, so that we can deal with. Last time we talked about the 8 winds, right? The praise, the blame, the failure and the success and so forth. You understand that? And not try to train our eyes as a robot, but as a machine, but at least keep our mind steady. Especially, you know, you're a college student, and next few years, you are there. You may be big boss, right? For a big company or wherever you go to. So when you are a leader, you are in the leadership position, what happens? You need to have that kind of steady mind. Just remember, President Trump, whatever things happen, he just do the Twitters and then people laughing. You see that? So, if you the higher position you are, or the more responsibilities you have, the steady mind, that's so important for you to have. Otherwise, if one action or the other people, if someone gives you comment whether this is good intention or bad intention, you ruin your career. You understand that? That's why meditation could be the tools or to remind that steady mind, that state. Make sense? So, of course, for people, especially for young people, oh, this is not nothing excited me, right? But still, of course, when you're still young, you need some kind of excitement, right? Some kind of fun, right? But still, you have to pay for the price. I think you have to price. You have to pay. So, the older you get, the more mature you would recognize this kind of peacefulness or happiness with the stability of mind is so important in our life. No matter what we do, no matter who we deal with. Make sense now? I'd like to explain to that so that you can understand. Now let me jump back to your question about the ultimate enlightenment. That's a little bit different from nirvana. Again, nirvana is the state of mind that leads to more fluctuation of emotion. It's like the calmness of the oceans, of the water ocean. You understand that? Now, fully enlightenment, that's when the title of the Buddha. That's when it connects with nirvana state of mind, with that type of stabilities mentally, but it helps us to recognize the things as the way they are in the full way. That's what we learn in this class. It means that, okay, here, when your mind is calm, let's say when you sit here, you have better chance to observe things around you. Is that right? But what happens when you walk on the street? Yes, you can pay attention here and there, left and right, but you don't pay attention much about the detail because you are moving. When you are walking, when you're running, when you're driving, you don't pay attention much about the details there. Make sense? That's why when you slow down, when you sit there, you calm your mind down. You observe things as the way they are. You recognize things as the way they are. And that's why we have that kind of mindfulness training. And when we recognize things in the mindful way, that's part of enlightenment. That's part of awakening. Why is that? Why is being awakening? Like in the morning, you wake up from the dreams, right? And what happens when, let's say, when you have so much emotions, let's say when you have so much either attachment or anger, there was love blind us, right? When you're in love with someone else, right? It blinds your mind. You look at that lady or that gentleman in a beautiful way, right? No matter what they do, you love that person. Like the mother, sometimes they protect their child, their children, even their children commit crimes, right? So that's why we call love blinds our mind. And of course, when you're angry toward other people, what happened then? You
black out.
You black out. You couldn't see. When you have that type of hatred toward that person, you don't have much wisdom to recognize the positive part of that person. Make sense? So that's why when we calm our mind, we have more wisdom. Like when you sit down here, when you calm your mind, you don't listen to music. When you really focus on what I say, of course, you have some accent. So at least you understand what I try to present, because you calm your mind. And because of that calmness, you are more mindful. And when you're mindful, yes, this is helpful for you to have the calmness too. They enhance each other, they complement each other. But whenever you do, like the way you walk, the way you eat, the way you sit, if you are mindful of this kind of body activities or mental activities, that's mean awakening. You understand that? But when you're so angry with someone else, when you're so attached to someone else, you're in different realms. You just see half a picture, or just portion of a picture, or just one angle. You don't see the whole pictures of things until you calm your mind. Make sense now? And that's why, like when we're sleeping, right? Even when we have sleep or have awake, you know, we may recognize someone put the food on the table, but we may think, oh, that's the toys, or that's the paper, and so forth. Make sense? So that's what I'm talking about. But when we awake completely, we all recognize, okay, this is the cake, this is the this cake, the book, and so forth. So when we have that clear state of mind, the clarity in our mind, we're more mindful. And because of the calmness and peacefulness, this enhances us, it complements us to have the kind of wisdom, to have the kind of mindfulness. That's why on the remember you put on your calendar, right? On September 30, right? We have that practice, and today we had a couple of minutes to practice too, so that we know what happened in our body. That's what we're talking about in this part today. Mindfulness of this body. What happened? If we know what happened within this body, eventually we will train ourselves to have that kind of momentum to know what happened in our mind. Do you know what happened in your mind? Maybe not. Sometimes, of course, unless we have a schedule to go to school to study, right? Otherwise, sometimes, especially on weekend, right? You may like, oh, I want to go to see my girlfriends, boyfriends, or something. This is not urgent, right? Oh, you may change your mind. Oh, I want to go to do shopping. I want to watch a movie and so forth. So our minds are so frustrated. They change from moment by moment. Even we don't know our mind. Not talking about other people know our minds. Not talking about other people could read our mind. Make sense? So that's why when we calm our mind and recognize what happened in our body, eventually with this kind of mindfulness training, we would know the thought pop up and go in our mind. And that's why this kind of teaching would lie down step by step. At first, we need to learn about our body. We need to make friends with our body. We need to make friends of our breath. We need to make friends of these entities. We need to make friends with our feeling. That's the next thing we talk about too. Sometimes some of you may say, oh, I don't like that feeling. Whether it's good feeling, bad feeling, especially bad feeling toward whoever. I hate it. I hate that person. Or I don't know. I don't like that feeling. I don't like that emotion. But still, it's there with you. The more the more you resist, what happens? The more it persists. The only thing is to accept that and move on. You see the logical sequence the Buddhist teaching, right? So first, make friends with your body, get know with your body. Second step is to get know with your feeling, emotions. And next one to get know or make friends with your mind. And the last step to make friends with everything, in and out, in our body, in our mind, and the surroundings. And that's the way we can make friends. That's the way we can make peace with everything. But it starts from here, from this body and mind. And reasonable, right? Okay. Okay, here. So that's why the breath, it can connect with everything. Connect with our awakening state of mind, connect with our feeling, our mind, and so forth. Of course, we know this one. This is and again, I told you that there's no right and wrong for you to do inhalation and exhalation. It's up to your body. It's up to your physical need. It's not nothing right and wrong. Right and wrong here is that if you inhale and exhale in unnatural way, that means you forcing them. That it may bring more suffering, more pain, or more anxiety to your body and mind. So that's what I talk about. But everyone has different speed, different type of breath in and out. So we know that. Observe the contact area during the sitting. Recognize number of touching, like the way you sit here. Whichever way you sit, whether you lean to the chair or you sit upright and so forth. Recognize that. So this class helps you to recognize whichever thing that you do, physically, mentally, spiritually, and so forth. When you sit, you recognize how your feet touch to the floor, or how you lean back to the chair, and so forth. That is what I talk about. Do not time how long it takes for each observation. Just observe. If you pay attention, that's all. You don't need to set time. Of course, for us at the beginning, we need to set the times, and 1 minute, 2 minutes, or even 1 hour, and so forth, to get used to our body and our breath. But for the experienced meditators, whenever they want to sit, they just sit. So, like when you like to write the paper and so forth, whenever you enjoy the writing, you just write. Of course, when you need to do homework, when you need to do the test and essay, it's different because you have to, right? For the requirements, for the responsibility, and so forth. If sleepy, change the object or touching point, what arising? Arising your chest, or the air come in and out of your body. And do not wash breath at the tip of the nose. That's actually when I first start to do breath meditation, I focus my mind on the tip of the nose. It's unhealthy because when you really focus somewhere either between the forehead or tip of the nose and so forth, it's easy for you to have a headache. And in Buddhist practice of breathing techniques, that you don't need to focus on it except follow your breath. And of course, our mind have to, you can say that, hindrance, obstructions. That either when we follow our breath, it's easy for us to fall asleep. That's one obstruction, or what we call the mind wandering around. You know why? Why we sit there? When you watch the movies, if you love that type of movie, if you really enjoy that type of movie, you would not fall asleep, right? But when you look back to your body, right? So you have not get used of that kind of practice yet. You may fall asleep, or your mind may wander around, right? You may even while you're sitting here, right, you may have a thought of concern about the next class, about your jobs, about your friends, about your family members, and so forth. It's all kind of thoughts here until you say out your thought. It's common. It's normal. It's happened to everyone. So that's why for breath meditation it reminds us that we need to follow with our breath, and we need to count them so that we keep track with them, so that we can remind ourselves here's the time we need to follow them, not to think about other things. Do not visualize, count, or control the breath. Again, visualize or control the breath is different, but counting again, this is the means for us to be mindful of the breath. But later on, if you really mindful with your breath in and out, you don't need to count. It makes sense? Right? Okay, do not just concentrate on the subject without mindfulness. Again, that cannot be mindful without true characteristics, suffering, change, or non-self. Probably it's just it's not easy for you to understand why cannot be mindful without the true characteristics of suffering, change, and non-self. And relate to the first question somebody will ask me about what happens when you take the test or you have an important interview and you know that you're not supposed to fail, you're not supposed to be rejected. You understand what I'm talking about here? So how we deal with that? Why cannot be mindful without this suffering, change, and non-self? Why is that? Why? Suffering. We know that physical body is sick, right? We have some kind of illness, and mentally we have some kind of anxiety, depression. And when you walk into the room to have an important interview for your job, what happens if you don't recognize that change? You torture yourself with expectation. I expect myself to get this job, otherwise be disaster for my life. That's something there. You see that? Remember I told you about the lady, she just missed only 1 point to pass the license. It's suffering, right? But again, if actually last time I didn't tell you that's one slide that talk about the Buddha said that it's like someone who shoot the arrow, right? So when we were sick, physically, right? That is like one arrow that shoot ourselves. Make sense? But when we sick and we blame on our sickness, and when we don't accept the kind of sickness, we hate that. We don't accept that. What happened? The Buddha says it's like you have a second arrow to hit you. Is that right?
Wait, so like say you're sick and you just keep on like disregarding it, like you're not.
What's that?
What do you mean by that?
Okay, let me tell you one real story you understand easily. There's one lady, she has some problem with her legs. Whether she twists her ankles or so on and so forth. So she went to see the doctor. And of course she paid for that visit. And the time that she went home, she expected that she would be recovered on the spot, on that day. Could she? Impossible. But she's so angry that she expects, I paid this much for my visit, for my doctor visit. I expect myself to be recovered. I expect myself to work normally. That's second arrow. You got that? Mm-hmm. It takes time to heal. It takes time to be recovered. Make sense? So, but here are the layer of physical suffering. You hate yourself, you have so much expectation, and you have the mental suffering. That's called second arrow. Make sense now? So when you walk into the room to take the test, I told you again, just take it, just accept whichever thing happens. Just accept the outcome. Of course, you need to make preparation for your test or your interview and so forth. And just accept the outcome because that's the best you can do. Of course, you cannot lie back and be lazy. Don't do anything to be prepared. That's a different story. But you prepare everything already. You try your best to study already, and that's the best outcome you can have. That's all. So you don't have any second arrow. That's something there. You see that? You understand that? You take off the mental suffering. You enjoy your life more. You can move on. You know, life is lesson, right? When sometimes we fail, and when we fail out, what happened? We need to stand up and move on. When you fall, oh, will I just lie down there forever? That's for the baby. Make sense? We need to stand up and learn the lesson from that kind of mistake, that kind of obstructions, that kind of suffering, and move on. You understand that? And of course, the change here is non-self. It's hard to understand. What will it change? What about, especially with the relationship, especially when you're still young, you try to find good match, a good mate, so that you can have some kind of long-term commitment to be wives, a husband, to have family, and so forth. And what happens? Some friends, they don't match with you. And what happens if they walk away from you with other ladies or other gentlemen and so forth? You understand that? If you don't accept that, you have second arrow. Because you don't recognize change. You understand that? So when we're still young, you know, like I told you recently, I'm changing moment by moment. We don't know what we're supposed to do. And of course, when we deal with some kind of relationship, right? And sometimes even we don't know for sure whether we want to prolong that relationship or not. That's why we try here and there. We try to have this person, that person try out until we set out with one. And so do your friends. Make sense? If we understand that, yeah, life is changing, the mind is changing, you accept and move on. Otherwise, just be suffer. This is suffering, right? Especially the one you have so much hope. You want that you have so much expectation. They have to be with me, and so forth and so forth. What happened? One day they walk away. The whole world collapses. Is that right? But if you accept that, okay, well, if I don't have, if they should go with other people, if somehow that's all, just accept that and move on. Make sense? There's just one example of all kind of things that you need to learn in life, right? And again, like taking the test, if you have a C or a B for your midterm and so forth, you still have a chance from final. What happens if you have bad grade in the final? You have no more chance, but you need to look further. Okay, I will try my best. At least I have all the classes I have will get better rate. That may check up my GPAs. So my point is that if you think optimistically, you move on. Make sense? Because you recognize things are changing. Is it clear now? Right. So probably if you are later on, if you are a psychologist, you need to encourage, right? Especially if you're patient who are in that kind of depressive state of mind, to explain for them, it's not one way. It's not the end of the channel. There's many ways to go, because life is changing. Make sense now? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, this is a lot for me to cover today. Anyway, so here, not controlling rising and falling again. Please, the keys of breath meditation or any kind of meditation in Buddhist way. Don't try to control anything. Don't try to manipulate anything, because the moment that you have the thought that you try to manipulate, try to control things, what happens? It stress yourself out. Make sense? If you have the calm mind training, you don't try to control your breath, and don't try to control how you walk, how you sit, and so forth. What happens? Yeah, you feel more at ease. Of course, as a student, or as the mature people, when you go to school, you know you have to have a certain type of behavior. When you work for someone else, even you are a manager, supervisor, or your boss in company, you need to follow a certain type of manner in the public. But my point is when you are with yourself, don't try to control anything. Of course, we need to have some kind of discipline by ourselves to sit upright and so forth. But this is with the minimum discipline. That's why I'm trying to talk about. Eliminate thought involvement. So as many people, they have problem with sleeping because that's running thought. So again, mindfulness practice, especially with the breath, we go back, we get it back to the nature. So we don't need to instigate, we don't need to stimulate thought anymore, so that we can calm mind. Observe the penumbra pure process. Here, this is the thing I want you to recognize. Can you look at what's that?
Marker.
Marker? What else?
A symbol.
Here, yeah. Let me cover this. Before you see this pen, okay? This marker. Okay, when they hand it up, the first instant, the first movement that you see, what do you see? The first movement of this one, this marker. What do you see? It's marker, right? But the second movement, that's when the third thought, the fourth thought and so forth, the serious thought, the serious thinking. Oh, you analyze. You analyze. Okay, this red one, this it has the what do you call the label and so forth. That's not pure thought. That's you jump into what you call the thinking. What happened with analytical thinking? What happened then? What happened if you don't have the pure thought? What happened then? You understand what I try to explain to you guys? What's it mean?
You start like driving yourself crazy with analytical just definitions.
Yes. Of course, when you go to school, we need to analyze, right? We need to analyze things that we learn in the books, right? You need to observe and recognize what I try to explain and so forth. That's a process of learning. And actually, there's one gentleman, when he came to my temple, and after I explained to him the process of doing mindfulness practice, and he said, "Wow, it's so strange. You want me to? You don't want me to think anything? Is that right? Is that right?"
In a way, yeah.
Then,
Yeah.
in a way, right? Why? Of course, you know, whichever thing we do from early in the morning up to the time we go to sleep. Even while we're sleeping, we're still thinking. Actually, not thinking in the mindful way, but our consciousness is still processing, right? Whichever thing we do, whichever thing we absorb, whichever thing we encounter, we have this kind of why, this mind, analytical thinking. That's why always spinning. Our mind always spinning, our mind always running. That's why many people have that kind of problems, sleeping problems. That's why in this class, we try to reverse the patterns. We try to observe the things as the way they are. Of course, when you do the work, right, when you do your response, you need to give some opinions about the materials that you just read or the thing that you learned from the class. But in the practice, the mindful practice, we try to reverse the pattern of thinking too much so that we can pacify our mind by using the pure thought, the pure process. Maker, just maker, that's all, period. Is it clear? If the more you analyze the makers, what happened? And you may fall in the realm of what? Good, bad, like or dislike. Favor or non-favor. Make sense? That when your mind are frustrated in these two poles, what happen? Suffering and pain come. Make sense? Or the like, we try to attach to. The dislike, we try to reject. We try to run away. That's what we call fight or flight. You understand that? So again, in Buddhist practice, we try to get back with kind of pureness of the thought. The first instant, do you trust your instinct? You trust your intuition, especially when you first met your girlfriend and boyfriends? You trust that? Kind of? Not much? Or you can trust your feeling too, right? To that person, right? What they call the first impression. Of course, throughout the times you interact with them, you can know, you learn more about them and so forth. But not talk about your girlfriends, boyfriend, but their jobs, even the class. What the time that you walk into the class, or whichever class you take, you feel that this is the thing I like, or this is the thing I don't like to learn, and so forth. Make sense? So somehow, the Buddhist ways of practice is to help us to get back to our pure awareness, pure thought. You understand that? I try to explain for you further so that you can recognize, observe the wind elements, tension, vibration, and motion when this breath, I will manifest on the object to see the truth, for as an idea or concept. And follow the flow of the concept and sensation. That's when we talk about the feeling to rotate the private object. Here, you get the position. You don't need to sit in full lotus, half lotus. You put your leg up. It's not necessary. You just sit on a chair and comfortable. Of course, if you sit in the meditation for more than a couple hours, you better to discipline your body, because this position is a stable position. You sit like the triangular in the front, the back, the side, and so forth. It's more stable position for people to sit longer. But if you sit this way, of course, it may take. You can sit for a few minutes, or 10 minutes, or 15 minutes, but you may move your body. Make sense? And let's just talk about the posture. And here, the first object sitting, you sit and you touch with the chair, touch with the floor. You recognize it, rising and falling of the abutments. Rising and falling become unclear occasionally. We recognize the pain, recognize even the hearing and so forth. The pain, if you sit longer, your leg may feel pain or numb and so forth. You recognize that. And here, this is the breathing. For more a normal, relaxed pattern of breathing, assist the more expression, aiding the expansion of lung tissue, mobilize the cage. That's what we call have the deep breathing exercise we talked last time, right? And this is so important for us to have enough oxygen for our body. The arms to strengthen the diaphragms and intercostal muscle and so forth. Here, one thing, let me see. This not okay. You can feel the air coming out of your body, but don't focus your mind on the tip of the nose. Just feel that, just recognize that. Just feel the cold air that comes into your body and warm air that go out of your body. And let's just deal with the walking meditation. But let's spend 1 minute, okay? Let's spend 1 minute of this kind of practice. Now, like I told you that we need to be familiar with our body. We need to make friends of our breath. We need to recognize, be mindful with our breath. That's the starting point. That is the foundation of being mindful of things. Okay, let me finish 1 minute. Okay, so again, now, if you feel that you're more mindful of your breath, you don't need to count. But if your mind is easy to take off, it's better to count. Make sense? Alright, so it's up to you. Remember, this is tools for you to keep that, and actually that's the mental medicine for you to help out whenever you stress out, whenever you feel so much anxiety and so forth. Okay? So let's do 1 minute, okay? Let me close the door, sorry, close the door so it's less noisy out here. So on the 30th at my temple we do more practice too, but at least in here in this class I give you this type of knowledge, this type of information. Okay, so you can use this at home too. Okay, let me press. Okay, 1 minute. Right. Just follow your breath naturally. You accept your breath. Inhale and exhale in a natural way. Don't try to force. Don't try to manipulate them. Just recognize the cold air coming to your body and the warm air come up your body. Just recognize. Whether it's long or short, whether deep or shallow, just recognize. Okay, see, 1 minute is pretty quick, right? And sometimes we do practice again, so you understand that we need to accept this body first. We need to accept this breath first before we accept our mind. That I told you, that's the stepstone that the Buddha built for us to follow. You know, so if you don't accept your body, there's no way for you to accept others. If you don't accept yourself, there's no way for you to accept others. That's why it's mean. So that's we need to make friends with this body, with this breath, and eventually we need to accept our feeling, our emotion too. We have time. So again, here we don't have space to do the walking, but over there we will do the walking too. Every step you every step you do, recognize and accept that. And you can practice from here. After this class, you walk from this class to your next class. You walk in a comfortable way. If you observe, without going to this class, if you observe the way that the students walk, of course some of them, especially if they late, right, they're rushing, right? Do you have class right after this class?
Yeah.
11:30? Really? Where?
At the tower.
Oh, we feel far.
Yeah. It's
Oh, you
like
have
10 minutes.
10 minutes? So how could you say a message schedule then?
I walk pretty fast.
Oh really? Okay. Oh, that's okay too. Yeah, that's fine. But if you're not in a rush, for example, if you have another class after 11:30 or 12, take time to walk. Then enjoy your walking. You see the beautiful. You see the energy that when you are mindful with your walk. And that's what we talked about the walking meditation. And we learn more later on. Okay, and running too. You guys running? Alright, okay. Yes, you do? Every day?
Every other day.
Every other day? Right. Around campus or around the park?
Around the park.
Oh, good. That's healthy then. But somehow they say it's more healthy to walk, right? Than to run, right?
Running isn't good.
Huh?
Running isn't very good for you long term. And your knees and your ankles and your joints.
Yeah.
Start to deteriorate.
Yeah. Okay. Again, we learned about that. This kind of when we talk about the 4 elements of the body, we learned that last time. And let's just keep this here. We know last time, right? Mm-hmm. How our emotion affect our body. Our emotion affect the heat of our body and so forth, right? And the sixth sense, yes, the smell, the taste, intuition, the hearing, the touch. It is so important that we need to accept them. You know, especially what happens when you driving on the freeway, on the road, someone turn the music in the car loudly. It's annoying, right?
I turn it loudly on purpose.
What is that?
I actually drive with really loud music.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, is it my bother other people then? Oh. Yeah, or if you go to class somehow, you know, some students they may not be much mindful the way they sit. Some of them they may eat in the classroom, whichever, you know. This is the manner of a college student, courtesy that we need to learn, or at work. So the point I want to say is that whichever didn't happen to other people, are we willing to accept the situation or not? Or we try to reject, or try to stay away, or try to run away from them, or try to fight back? That's what I wanted to say. So this kind of mind training has helped us to accept whichever thing happening. That's go beyond our ability to control. You understand what I'm trying to say? Whichever things, when you deal with people, we take a test, and so forth. Understand that? Okay? Even body. So I like to go briefly about this. We learned about this one, right? Yes. About the body. Let me skip this part and then let me go back. Let me go to the other one. This is what they call the mindfulness of feeling. Like I told you that, right? So at first, we have to be mindful with our body. We have to anchor down our mind with our body, because this part of our life, we have to anchor our mind with our breath. And then the next one is the feeling. Why? Well, we have to anchor with. Why we have to anchor our mind with the feeling? Why is that? What kind of feeling? Okay, who know why? Why did you anchor our mind with our feeling? What happened with feeling? What happened? Anything wrong with the feeling?
It's basically your feelings and mostly your emotions and your life.
And what else? What happened if you cannot make friends with your feeling? Of course, we know that we need to make friends with our body, right? Make friends with our breath. Now, in the next step, why do we need to make friends with our feeling? Why? And what happens if we don't make friends with our feeling?
It would be like constantly at war with yourself. Very.
Yeah, but type feeling, all kind of feeling there. You see that the soul, right? We block our ear, right? And it's all kind of irritation that happen. And what happens? Someone cut up your car, cut in front of your car. It's happened, right? How could you deal with that kind of feeling? It's irritation, right? You yell.
Honking the horn.
Honk the horn. Okay, and some may swear and so forth, right? You do? Okay. And what happened? Could you make peace with that?
After I get that cuss word out, yeah.
What's that?
After I get it out, yeah.
Oh yeah, one thing. Okay, one thing I want to mention. Okay, let us go over with our feeling, right? Right. What's that? What happened if you were unhappy first because your boss, your professors? What happened if the police told you that your house was robbed and so forth? If you didn't get the present for your birthday party, right? What are you feeling about your best friends?
They're not good friends.
Yeah. Or what happened if they're sick? What happened if it has something happened in their life unexpectedly? You understand that? If you were about to talk in public for the first time, right? You have that kind of what we call phobia, public phobia, right? Yeah. Okay, what happened if your good friends didn't invite you to his party or her party? They turn you down, right? What's your feeling about them? If your friends help you a lot with the problems. If you went to study abroad and were missing your families, that's the feeling. If you thought you have lost your passport, but then you found it. And how this feeling, we recognize that this desperate, devastate for us, especially it's happened to us like in Houston recently, after hurricanes, many people, they're so depressed, they're so frustrated because they lost their jobs and so on. At my temple, I host one lady, African American lady over there. She came here to find jobs, but even before the hurricane, she shared a room with her roommate somehow, but the house was leaking. So she has nowhere to go, and she went to the social service office, and they told her to come to our shelters. And this feel desperate for them, for this kind of people. That imagine that you don't have any place to go back to sleep, or even you don't have food to eat and so forth. They feel desperate, right? Okay, stunned, exhausted. And especially after a day of working, if you're working and studying full time, you'll be exhausted, right? Up to now, you're still exhausted?
I'm so tired right now.
How many hours do you sleep in per day?
Max, probably like 6.
6? Okay.
Yeah.
They say that you need to take care of your body. That's what we learned today, right? Take good care of your body. Try to sleep enough. Otherwise, what happens? It's happened to many students, and even when you go to work, what happens if you don't have enough sleep? You cannot concentrate
No
well.
energy.
And for me, every morning I come here early. I get here most time by 7, and I meditate or I rest myself to have a good and get back my energy before I teach you guys. So again, take care of your body, take care of your mind, right? Don't damage that, don't harm that. You cannot function well without your body, without your mind. Alright, so miserable, astonished, delightful, this here, worry, excited, interest, bored, this friendly, unfriendly, that's a feeling there, the opposite feeling there. Now, how is feeling? Thirsty, hungry, sleepy, happy, hot, shy, surprised, tired, scared, shy, in love, frustrated, bored, angry, scared, sad. All kind of feeling. First, cold, hot, happy, bored, okay, surprised, exalted. Okay, here's the balloon. That show our face when we have this kind of feeling, that kind of emotion. That's all again. In love first and so forth. Actually, in psychology, I don't know what kind of field that they learn the facial expression of the people. Is that right? And you guys learn that part yet?
Reading like body language.
Body language, facial expression. You learn that part yet?
Not yet.
Not yet, but you are going to, right?
Yeah.
As a psychologist, right? When the patient walk into the room, your office, you would feel, at first you would use your intuition to recognize what's wrong with that person. And plus, you will have the feeling about that person. And of course, on the top of that, you would absorb their facial expression, the body language. And sometimes, the facial expression and body language speak out of the mind. That's what we call if you work for the U.S. government, especially the FBI or the CIA, they have what we call polygraph.
Polygraph.
You cannot get away from that. Yeah. When you're angry, when you're happy, heartbeat is different. When you tell the truth, heartbeat is different from you tell lies and so forth. That's why most of the time, It's work. Anyway, so that's our emotion, that's our feeling. Mad, scared, we know the definition. I don't need to go again. And it's related to our mentality, it's related to our mind, our spiritual, our emotion, our physical body, and so forth. Okay? And this is what we call the wholeness of our life. And what is the health? Related to our health, our relationship with other people, and so forth. The physical energy, when we're healthy, when our mind clear, we have more energy for our body and so forth. This is the wellness. Here, let me skip this one. Okay, you know, right? The stress affects to the body, affects to the organs. Whether you have stress, anxiety, depression, they affect to our feeling. The feeling affect to our body too. Here, if you're angry too much, what happens? It affects to your liver. If you have excessive joy, it affects to your heart. If you worry too much, it affects to your brain. If you have the sadness and guilt, it affects to your lung. Have you seen this before? This is more with what we call traditional medicine. I think for your guy, information, you need to know that too. When you see the patient to walk into the room, if you recognize that they have a type of sadness or guilt or depression, you may recommend them to check out their lungs and so forth. So that is good information for you guys. Now, how we know that anger, we can deliver and so forth, affected the stress. Okay, let me move down here. So, here, when we talk about the feeling, here we have three types of feeling: pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. And in Buddhist view, it's split out two categories: worry and worry. For example, pleasant is related to the worry one. That means, okay, let's say when you enjoy the food, right? That's just concerned with the worry. That just means it's secular, the ordinary pleasure, the food, the talking, the writing, whichever that we do every day. That's what we call ordinary pleasure. A relationship, man, and so forth. Unworthy, that means simply go beyond. Like I just mentioned about the state of nirvana there. When you have that kind of steady mind, you feel more comfortable with yourself. You feel more at ease with yourself in the long term. That is what talk about the unworthy one. Unpleasant, again, too. With any kind, you don't like that kind of food, that kind of sound, that kind of music, and so forth. Neutral. What do you think about the neutral feeling? Can you guys give me one example of neutral feeling? Any neutral feeling you have? Or most of the time you jump here and there, yes?
It's either one or the other.
Yeah, that's pole. That's why. That's why we're uneven. Remember, our mind is like the boards. Remember? If you sit in the middle, you safe. If you lean to the left and lean to the side, your boat will be capsized. Is that right? That's what this is about. That's what this is about, meditation. To keep our mind steady, keep our mind in balance. Is that right? Understand that? So most of the time, our mind are frustrated with that type of feeling, right? Good, bad, and so forth. Happy. Sometimes we're so happy. Sometimes we're so excited. Sometimes we're so boring. That's why suffering comes from. That's why we cannot satisfy with our life. So you remember from now on, if you try keep in the neutral ground, stay in the middle of the boat. Make sense? Okay. So it's not easy to remain neutral until we have this kind of mind training, the practice of breath meditation and so forth. Okay. So I think this is more enough for me to go over today. And next Tuesday, again, I told you that since I'm supposed to go there early, so I have to short. I think we may have only 40 minutes of time. Let me see. So if you want to go with me to help out, then pray too. Okay. All right. So thank you. So if you have a question of your work, please let me know. Okay.